Greetings and welcome to Old Drunken Discography. We're old friends, fans come together to BS, argue, occasionally agree, and discuss a musical artist. This week, our artist is International Noise Conspiracy. This is Tim's pick. That's Tim down there.
Hell yeah, it's my pick.
Last week, we covered Seven Spires. That was Bill's pick.
I like them.
And next week is my pick. I'm Jason, and it's Green Day. So, you never know what you're going to get here. We could jump from International Noise Conspiracy to Green Day to the Beastie Boys. So, you know, it's always fun, always interesting. If you'd like to choose an artist for us, though, join our Patreon. We got some cool perks, get some behind-the-scenes shit. We cut out a lot of things that, you know, don't make it to the video. Because YouTube will come
Which
after
is a
us.
lot.
Yep. That's a lot. Yeah, we'll be talking to studio records. We'll be ranking them one album at a time. Notable releases. Tim said Bigger Cage's EP was a notable release, so we're going to talk about that as well.
There's a couple live albums too I might flash, but I wasn't going to force you guys to listen to them, although they're highly recommended.
Yeah, that's fair. Bring them up as we go along.
Oh yeah.
So brief history with the band. I've heard of International Noise Conspiracy. They were on one of the shittier Punkaramas. One of the
They
later
were on
Punkaramas.
a bunch of the Punkaramas, actually. They're probably on like 3 or 4 of them.
Those 2000 Punkaramas they didn't hit the same as the 90s. But that is how I found Sage Francis, so shout out Epitaph. And they were on the Rock Against Bush 2, I think it was.
Yep.
Which, again, wasn't as good as 1, but still fucking solid album all the way through. So yeah, I never deep dived them. I've heard some of A New Morning, but yeah, brand new discography for me.
I mean, I'll piggyback off of that. Mine's even less. Didn't know about this band before starting it. If I did, it was by accident in passing. But yeah, brand new discography, and was excited to listen to another one. You know, another band that Tim brought that was around. You know, late '90s, being '99 to the mid 2000s to see what was this another Queens of the Stone Age.
I mean, not quite, but that does definitely tie into my history with the band. I found both of these bands the same summer. And so really between Queens of the Stone Age, which go back and watch those episodes, and this band, the International Noise Conspiracy, it really kind of shaped where I was headed in the 2000s.
And the lead singer is from another band, too.
And the lead singer is from another band that is infinitely more famous than this. We'll get to the Refused here eventually. But yeah, so I'll never forget it. Actually, I discovered this band off MTV2. If you guys remember, after MTV died, but MTV2 still played videos, and I had a job where I'd get off work like 9 or 10 or 11 p.m. So I'd be up all night just with MTV2 on, and I saw a video, and it intrigued me enough to go buy the album. The album changed my life. I was lucky enough to see this band live twice in their career. Both were amazing shows. This is still a band that, you know, almost 30 years later, I still listen to regularly, and am always trying to like introduce it to people. So I'm very excited to finally bring it to Old Drunken Discography.
Where was the video Black Mask by chance?
No.
Okay, good.
I will I'll let you know when we get there.
Okay. So, and of course we'll do our color code, which I'll have to add the Ramones and, you know, post edit here. Because this must have been a bad
Power
copy
of editing
paste.
magic.
Well, see, now that you said that, now it's going to have to appear here. Poof. So yeah, we'll have our color code from Ramones Gold to the green Must Hear to the yellow Caution to the red Avoid to the brown Nickelback, which I still say we should rename to Creed, but
I mean, I would
Yeah,
endorse that renaming, but
and after thinking about it, I think I I think I like Creed more than Nickelback.
really, you had a bad trip at Home
I mean,
Depot?
Creed had a couple riffs.
I mean, you went to Home Depot and they didn't have the paint, so we had to go to his local
He had to go to Lowe's where they were
Tractor
playing.
I had to
Supply.
go to
Is that a
Ace
Lowe's?
Hardware.
Okay, Ace Hardware. There we go. Trying to think what it's actually around the nation and not localized to me.
Right,
He
yeah.
walked down that
Had to
that
go to
paint aisle
Buddy's.
at Ace, and they were, I'm 6 feet on the ground, and I'm thinking. And he was just feeling it.
Say, went to that Ace Hardware that's connected to that Piggly Wiggly down the street.
Go watch our Creed videos and our Nickelback videos. Let's just get into fucking a good band.
Right.
So the first conspiracy.
So, in true punk rock fashion, the first conspiracy actually is made up of a series of 7-inch singles, which I was lucky enough to get one of them from the band, and then also got the CD um, of the whole album, also from the band. Um, I've seen some bootleg finals that have everything here, but they are bootlegs. I'm trying to find all the original 7 inches, but they don't pop up too often. Um, yeah, uh, late 90s Swedish punk rock. There's a whole bunch of things I like about this band. I'll try to get to them all as we go through these. Um, but everything I like about this band starts here. Um, I love, I mean, right off the bat, I love the drums throughout this entire discography. This album is no different. I love the bass throughout this entire discography. This album is no different. Um, I love that this band has really simple guitar parts that sound so much more complicated than they are. And I mean, that's the same with all the instruments. The keyboards are like super tasteful, just simple riffs. Musically, yeah, I think it's definitely punk rock, but it's also kind of bringing back that 60s vibe where, there's a little James Brown in there and they're dancing. It's not just hardcore punk rock or anything. And then, yeah, going through the notes for these albums, for these episodes, there were so many lyrics that I love. And then I'd read the lyric sheet and it'd remind me why I loved this band all over again. Um, like starting with the first conspiracy, like it comes right out the gate. It's pretty cool. I like it. Um, but then we get to abolish work, which I mean, as the title implies, they're actually singing about anti-wage labor. And it's like, oh, wait a minute. This isn't just your typical love song. Um, and then we get to like abolish work, top song contender, a new language, top song contender. I love the chorus. Do you know my name? The drums are so badass. Um, and I love when Dennis. I'm probably gonna screw these names up at many points, so I'll just try to get through them now. We got Dennis Lixzine on vocals. We got Inge Johansson on bass. We got Sarah Almgren on keyboards. Lars Stromberg on guitar, and Ludwig Dahlberg on drums. Love all of them. They're great. Um, but anyway, yeah, going back to "Do You Know My Name?" It's like, that could be like a fun little love song. But then you get to the lyric sheet and you realize that they're singing about the downsides of capitalism and marketing. And it's like, whoa, that's pretty deep. Um, just kind of a quick from the lyric sheet here. My mouth is all dried up and my eyes are all shut. We're speaking a new language where words are not enough, a language of action that is easy to hear but almost impossible to decipher. Words of violent emotions that are bigger than the preset parameters of modern ways of production has to offer us, where every aspect of our expression is being bought and sold and fucked over, where passion means nothing and revolution means the latest detergent. Like, oh man, uh, we'll get into it, but I love, especially on these early albums, that the lyrics, uh, yeah, they sound simple, it's super punk rocky, but the messages here are super deep. And then that takes us to Timebomb, which is pretty self-explanatory. Um, Great quote from that lyric sheet. Leisure time is only free time. If humans have all the modern materials and instruments at their disposal to make revolutionary art for the experimental construction of everyday life. Makes me think. I love it. Banger, literally a banger of a song. Uh, Send one to your boss. Uh, the Sin Crusade, which is on my 7 inch. It's actually kind of about body positivity. Um, they make us hide our bodies in big clothes and sexless outlooks. They make us fear ourselves and the power that we have. But I'm a sinner, baby, because I have sinned. I opened up the door and I let you in because I like everything. In order to define humans, we get categorized after how we love and who we love. All of a sudden, sex became an identity, a role to play.
Which is even
Again,
more true now.
so many of these lyrics are way ahead of their time throughout this discography. Um, the blast off kind of explains the whole intention behind the international conspiracy. Highly recommend that one. Young Pretenders Army is attacking the packaged rebellion that Hot Topic was selling by questioning the idea of a counterculture to begin with. Again, these are these are topics that are so relevant and so ignored that the fact that they're bringing them up and really presenting a package, I find just incredibly punk rock. Uh, I swear if you do is about bringing down the bourgeoisie. Airports, which is all the B side of my 7 inch. Um, I love that song. It's top song contender. And then we get to the introduction to the Black Mask. Um, both songs they go together, so it's hard to kind of separate them. But I think both songs work independently. But when you put them together, it's a nice little cap to this album. 30 minutes, uh, just kind of jumps in your speakers and explodes. My only downside to this album is the guitar tone. I love the guitar parts, but the tone, it definitely sounds like they just plugged into an amp, which is very possible. I'm pretty sure these were all just recorded at home. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think this is a great debut. Can't wait to see what you guys have to say about it.
I mean, I'd expect nothing less from the lyrics based on just what label this album's on.
Sure, sure.
I mean, they're on G7 at this point, so.
Yep, yep.
Um, the opening lines of the discography are: "My knees are aching, my body's sore, I can't believe it. We're still down on the floor, yeah." That's a solid 4 out of 5. It rhymes, it's catchy, and it repeats a few times, so you'll be singing along. It's a short, fun little ditty. Abolish work, though, it had some funky bass. I wasn't sure how I felt about this one. New Language is upbeat, rockabilly, fantastic vocals. I mean, I shouldn't even have to say that anymore. Lyrics were great. I'm here for it. Do You Know My Name? Top song contender. I love the quiet, slow part out of nowhere. Um, Time Bomb, great bass riffs. I did feel like its song kind of overstayed its welcome, though. It was a little long. The Sin Crusade, getting that Cramps meets the early 2000s clean guitar craze feel that was going on at the time. It's not bad. It's just this band it's not. Oh, I'll get to that. Blast Off, short and fun. I don't have any notes for Young Pretenders. I Swear If You Do, great bass groove, a little quieter than the previous songs, but I was here for it. Airports was super fun. And yeah, Introduction, it had a real good ebb and flow, and I like how it was like an introduction to the Black Mask, which is fucking phenomenal. Great 1-2 punch right there. And the track list on Wikipedia had Paulina and Brand New Day, and that's what Spotify had. Paulina was very Fugazi sounding, another highlight. And Brand New Day was closing track was fine.
I'm gonna have to check those out. I've never even heard of them.
I think it's just I think it falls under the same thing of like Green Day's 39 Smooth Out Slappy Hours, where it's like a bunch of shit combined in different pressings or different.
Right, and that's on Spotify.
Yeah, that was the Spotify. Well,
Okay, because the service I use stops after Black Mask, and my CD stops after Black Mask. So
that's weird.
Because I was gonna ask about that because mine, because on YouTube the playlist also stops at Blacklist. However, the YouTube album cover is like a Bob Ross looking motherfucker with
yeah,
like in a blue background, not a
I'm
comic
pretty
strip,
sure
which
it's
looks
Angela
awesome, but
Davis. Pretty sure it's
oh,
Angela Davis.
so
But
not
yeah,
Bob Ross. Okay.
but yeah, it does have a couple covers here. Again, like depending on market, like we're looking at the American cover. Pretty sure the Angela Davis is European. Plus, all the 7 inches, of course, had their own covers. So,
we'll get to the art.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I mean it had a lot of peaks and valleys. The valleys weren't bad; they just didn't stand out to me. Got a lot of Jimi Hendrix meets the Cramps, meets the Stooges, meets the Hives with really great lyrics. Fantastic bass though, through and through. It's nice to listen to a band that has bass.
Bill, you got anything to throw in there?
I mean, so obviously I'm saying like, all right, Tim recommended that, or Tim put this band forward. Is this going to be a COC? Is this going to be a Queens of Stone Age sounding? Like, what am I going to hear? So I put this, so I put on this album when I was mopping the floor of my kitchen in my bar. I'm like, all right, worst case scenario, hopefully it's got a decent beat that I can, swish a mop to, right?
Swish and mop, swish and mop. Abolish work.
And
Right,
I'll say this,
Bob.
it definitely didn't disappoint. Initially, no, I didn't look at years initially when I put this on. So like, oh shit, is this something from back in like the 70s or 60s or something like that? Just again, just the sound and everything else of what it reminded me of. I'm like, oh, this is like a Rolling Stones from way back when. Which I'll get to another band that I was reminded of more clearly in a later album, which I actually think more highly of than the Stones, but that's a whole other debate.
Ooh, we gonna go off.
And
We gonna be different.
Go back and watch our Rolling Stones video. That was a beast of burden.
Yeah, carve out 3 hours of your life for that one.
I mean, you guys hit a lot of the stuff I would talk about. I mean, I know Jason was talking about valleys for this first album. I really don't think there were any actual valleys. Maybe plateaus. I'll give it a couple plateaus,
Yeah, I could go with that. Yeah, I go with the
But I
plateau.
mean, starting with the first conspiracy, I mean, my note on that is 1 minute, 15 seconds of awesomeness. Just an awesome, upbeat, high energy start to an album. I mean, finishing with Black Mask, I mean, an intro to the just this a prelude to it, really, when we look at it.
Mhm.
I mean, intro I said was a quiet instrumental that was effective and it was a solid flow into the Black Mask, which was just a hell of a closer. In between there, for me, my highlights of this album, other than those, I felt Abolish was a very strong point. I thought Time Bomb was an exceptionally strong point. Young Pretenders, again, another strong point I would say in the middle there. And when I say strong point, as I said, there were no valleys on this album for me, just more plateaus or leveling off. Uh, like I swear, if you do in airports, great. Both those songs are phenomenal. It's just like, yeah, they were both solid, great songs in between Young Pretenders at Army and Intro to the Black Mask.
Now, see, if
Right.
if the track list I listened to ended with the Black Mask, that would have probably changed my entire. Like, that would have been a fucking phenomenal closing track. That'd be top closing track in the discography.
So
But to
that's,
me,
I
Brand
mean,
New Day was
that's,
the closer.
Oh, oh, I don't know about that.
say, I mean, I think there's one that's better than, I mean, Black Mask is a solid song, don't get me wrong. But I
I'd
think
have to go
there's
back through my notes,
there's
but
one that I definitely pegged as my best closer. And actually, I'll say First Conspiracy also wasn't my best opener. It was a great opener. It's a great.
yeah,
I mean, that's how you start a discography is a song like the First Conspiracy. But I feel like there was another more solid opener they had later on, which again,
yeah. They got a
it's gonna
couple
be
better ones. They got a couple
it's gonna
better
be.
ones.
Do you like the Rolling Stones more, or do you like the other band that I'm gonna mention and bring up in a future episode?
That's where I think we're going to divide because I heard you say you like the other band more. I think we're going to disagree on our rankings here.
We probably will, but that's. I mean, it's comparing two of the greatest bands to come out of the '60s and '70s.
Your opinions are going to get shattered.
Hey, that's what it reminded me of, and that's the best thing I can relate to. I mean, I'll say holistically, a great start to the discography. We'll see where they go from here. Um, I mean, for 1999, I mean, go look at our album of the decade series. I mean, 97, both Tim and I felt like was a valley for music and quality as a whole.
Hmm.
And I think Tim and I are both going to say 98 started to step up, and then 99 really kind of started to catapult us into what we were going to see in the 21st century musically. This band wasn't as big as another band, which I'm also going to talk about later, just in more that I want to say retro sound, but just how the marketing can change how a band is depicted by the populace.
Well, and if we remember the political landscape of the 2000s in America, I don't think it's any
Oh,
surprise that Clear Channel didn't jump all over this
oh
band.
God, no.
Right.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I mean,
Rock Against Smash.
iHeartRadio or whatever they're called now.
So,
They were on G7 and then they went to Epitaph, and I know G7 probably didn't have a lot of funding for advertising and stuff, but Epitaph
Right.
would have. But Epitaph wouldn't have been able to market them when 9/11, and they wouldn't even play John Lennon on the radio. They sure as fuck weren't playing International Noise Conspiracy.
hell no. So my
No.
question before we go any further, were International always on Epitaph then? So technically they started with the major label in 99 then?
No.
No.
So G7 is not a major label. Technically, Epitaph isn't a major label. And
Well,
technically, they weren't on Epitaph. They were on Burning Heart, which is a subsidiary of, is the European subsidiary of Epitaph. So
okay.
Epitaph had distribution rights in America. But no, a pretty famous producer is going to step in and they are going to sign to a major label here for the last couple albums.
Okay. Because
But
I
these
was just
first
gonna
three
ask
are all independent.
because I was going to ask because I felt like there was some things, and I know when I was listening on YouTube, all of these kind of had that epitaph label somewhere, either
Uh-huh.
directly on the
Well, it's all subs like
title
even
or the
G7.
description.
Even G7, I think, was a semi subsidiary of Epitaph. I could be wrong,
Sure.
but I'm pretty sure it
Right.
was. That's
And even then,
Propagandi's
like,
label. They're the ones that started G7.
and the single's not on G7. The single's on Trans Solar.
So yeah, they were just all over the place.
They were all
Well,
over the place, and then rights get
if
pushed
you don't mind
around.
me asking, what were the singles on this album, anyways?
I don't believe this out, or well,
It's not.
I'd have to look it up
I feel
because
like
they all were singles technically. And
true,
then mine has Sin Crusade and Airports.
which I could see.
Yeah, but yeah, these were all just 7 inches. Technically not a full album, but they were
Hmm.
compiled into what is
So
considered their first album.
when when was like the first 7 inches released for them?
They start coming out in '98.
Oh, nine. Okay, so just what? So it wasn't like it was coming out for like 3 or 4 years prior. It was just the year prior and then
Yeah, no, they
compiled
no
99.
exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
gotcha.
So Tim, who gets to guess first?
You do.
I got the first dot. Okay. So I get 2 dots. I see you. I'm gonna redo Green Day's dots.
Go for it.
Stick around. Survival Sickness is next. Well, we'll start ranking some records. Yeah, we cover bands we actually listen to. We like. At least one of us will like them. So
Might only be one, but at least one will.
yeah, might only be one.
I'm here to bring the heat.
All right. As always, give us a like, give us a subscribe, be safe, and what, Bill?
Uh, Burn down the state.
What's a waste of time? The please, pretty please. Will end up dying when a baby's.
And then you go a little woo, and then a little whoop, 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 and then it's all and then you're ready to go again.